Hey everyone, it is just ticking 9 o'clock in the morning of the 21st of September 2020. I want to do another one of my informational videos. We'll do just very little technical analysis, but I want to take a look at a few things that are going on in the world, right? So I usually say we want to talk about what's going on in the market, but today I want to talk about what's going on in the world. So if anybody's on watching the YouTube stream, just kind of let me know in the chat that you can hear me okay and that you could see my screen when we get into this. But want to take a look at and talk about the elections. I want to talk a little bit about global markets. I want to focus, however, on the S&P. I want to focus on Bitcoin as well. And so, with that, let's just discuss kind of what's kind of in my mind, and I just want to voice these out. Before I get into any of this, you guys know this isn't financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. This is just my opinion on the market, and in this case, the global situation at as a whole. Also, I also want to kind of preface this with I haven't prepared this ahead of time. A lot of times when I do my videos, I do like to speak off the cuff a little bit. So there may be points where I ramble a little bit. So apologies ahead of time. But I do have kind of an important theory that I do want to discuss. And so let's just go ahead. I want to take a look. I'm going to start here by just kind of taking a look um, at the chart. So what I've got here, I've got the ES chart. So this is, if anybody's not aware, this is the S&P 500 E-mini futures. These are a lot of electronically traded futures um, based on the S&P 500. And I need to move this guy back. So this guy is designed to be election day, which is the 3rd of November 2020. That's election day here in the United States. Again, just kind of taking a look at this, I'm going to move this 5 out here because I think this is probably what's going to happen. Based on the trajectory of this, I think that more than likely this is likely what is going to happen. We've been talking about this for a while now. We've been talking about the S&P going to almost 4,000. But what do I think is going to happen on election day? This is, everybody is expecting this. So this is why I think something like this is likely going to happen. What I think is going to happen is on election day in the United States, Donald Trump is going to win. That's what I believe is going to happen on election day. It's going to be very clear that Donald Trump wins. Okay, I'm not here to give you guys any insight into my political opinion or anything like that. So just kind of putting that disclaimer out there as well. I'm not endorsing any party, and I try and be as bipartisan with any of my conversations with people as possible. But I do think that Donald Trump will win the vote on election day, and I continue to say on election day because I think there's going to be something that happens in the weeks to come after the election because there's a lot of mail-in voting. People talk about mail-in voting and people talk about absentee voting, and they're largely the same. But Al, just to kind of humor you a little bit, and that's where I was going. I think Biden will actually end up being the winner. Okay. So I do think that, generally speaking, Trump supporters, not speaking about them in any negative fashion, right? I'm just, saying Trump supporters, generally speaking, um, tend to be a little more carefree when it comes to the pandemic, right? And everybody's entitled to their own opinion. We live here in the United States, and that is just, the glory of living here. You have the ability to, to exercise your right to to just about whatever, as long as it's lawful. But anyway, so I think that they are going to have no problem going and voting in person. I do believe that there are a lot of, Democrats, liberals, whatever you want to call them. Um, I think there's a lot of them that are probably going to be voting through absentee ballots. What I think is going to happen here, as it relates to the market, is there's going to be some optimism in the market that Trump is going to win, and Trump will win on election day. I really truly believe that on election day, Trump is going to be um, declared the winner. Okay. But we still have these mail in votes that are going to be trickling in over time. And what's going to happen there is when Biden does eventually win, and I could be completely wrong here, but I think that he probably will. I think we're going to have a downturn. And just watching the trajectory of this market, let's just throw a little channel on this thing here because, one, I'm not here to try and mix politics with market analysis, but what I will say is this is, not really a coincidence. Let me pull this here, and I'm actually going to move this guy out a little bit because I want to focus on this bottom pivot down here, and we're getting pretty close to this level right down here, which is at 32.13 or so. But for us to come all the way up here, man, I can just see this happening. I could see us even coming just a little bit further. But I believe there's going to be less momentum on that move up. Right now, what we're seeing is we're definitely seeing some hidden bullish divergence here. Because we're kind of testing these highs here, we're testing these lows here. It's kind of where we're sitting right now. I can see us curling and moving ourselves up. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. I can see us moving up here to this level. Now, if this pivot gets taken out, then it's going to be really, really bad. But what I think we've got here is I think we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C into the 2, and then we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here to finish off the 3, and then I think we've got an A, B, C here into the 4, and then as we move up into the election, there's going to be a lot of optimism that Trump is going to win, and remembering that markets are future-looking mechanisms. They are not based on history. They are based on the future. The prosperity of the future is what markets are based off of. That is why it is really not a good idea to trade based on news. In some cases, it can work out. A company files bankruptcy, their price is going to tank in the long run. But generally speaking, when we have seen bankruptcy announcements, well, one, you typically get that news too late. That bankruptcy has already been priced in, and the price ends up bouncing. Look at Hertz, it bounced up like 100% after the filed bankruptcy. What? Okay, so here, what we have now, we have this Trump victory being priced in. But again, likely what is going to happen is Biden is going to end up being the winner after all of the votes are counted. What are you going to have from there? You are going to have panic. You're going to have riots, protesting. I mean, unfortunately, that is more than likely what is going to happen. I don't like it, but I do think that's probably what is going to happen. If Trump wins, so on election day, if Trump wins, this is all going to start, and then what's going to end up being discovered is Biden is going to win anyway. And so, maybe the riots and maybe the protesting, all that stops. We'll see. We'll see. Um, but I do think that the markets take a downturn after the election. Again, I've talked about this, but just to kind of mix this in with the election, well, one, this channel seems to be working itself out really nicely. We've got this touch down here. We've got 2 touches up here. I could move this out more if you'd like, and we can see the confluence with this low back here, right? So, this seems to be a channel that is really important in the market right now. And in the market, I'm referring to the S&P 500. This doesn't necessarily relate to NASDAQ or any other index. I do think it's very possible we come down here, but let's just talk real quick about where we're at right now. I'm going to remove some of these horizontals that I've got here on the chart. I'm actually going to remove the channel for the time being. We've got this outlined up here at about 38.75. Let's just take a look at this. What I'm going to do is take us from the bottom of my proposed 2 up to the top of my proposed 3, and we're sitting right here on the 382. So this seems to me like it's a very, very good place for there to be a bounce. And maybe we get that today. I'm not really sure. A lot of people are going to be looking for doomsday. They're going to be looking for a larger sell-off. I'm not so sure that we're going to get there. I'm not so sure that we are going to get quite that low. As far as coming down here to 3,000 or maybe even finding ourselves all the way down to like 2950. I don't know that we're going to get that low. A high probability trade would be actually to be buying here and to be taking this thing up to 38, to 3,800 to 3,825. That would be our algo target to the upside. And again, this is going to take time, right? We're going to be grinding up there, but one way or another, I think that we're getting close to the bottom. Now, if we take out this blue line right here, which is at about 32, what is it, about 32.15, 32.1250. That's where it is, 32.1250. This is where I think we have, a good and clear stop loss, right? And also taking into account that channel that I just removed. Let me see if I can get this back on here. There we are. Okay, that's this level right here, which is right there at the bottom. That intersects perfectly with that right there, and that could possibly be tomorrow. Okay, so today you're going to have a lot of people rushing to short. Tomorrow they're going to have an opportunity to cash in on those shorts. But if you didn't, if you didn't open a short up here, why would you open one down here? People always tend to, short the bottom along the top. People got really bullish up here. We had a couple really good days and then a larger sell-off that took out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. An entire week of trading is gone in a day. And then we've seen more significant downside, right? So why would you short down here when you weren't willing to short up here? You had the opportunity and you didn't do it. Down here, I would say, longing with a stop loss at 32.1250 could work out. Now it's a wide margin, I would agree, but the risk to reward, like you could probably get a little better price from where we're at right now, but stopping at 32.1250, you're allowing yourself about 1.5%. And for the upside, you're talking about, 20%, 20% to the upside, regardless of who wins the election. But again, Trump wins on election night. There's going to be massive protesting and riots. Not that I'm condoning it in any way, shape, or form. I try to be a pretty peaceful person. It's going to happen. But then, a couple weeks later, the mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, again, largely the same thing. Voter fraud is actually a lot lower than what people say it is. I think it's going to be clear that Biden is going to be the winner. Okay? So we get up here, then we talk about a larger move down. We're probably going to correct this entire move. We're going to find ourselves at like the 50 or the 618. So if we do take ourselves up to 38.80, we're probably going to come down to 2,900 down to 27.15, maybe even lower than that. We're going to find ourselves down in this zone. It's probably going to be mid-year next year before we get down there. I don't think it's going to be as steep of a decline as what we saw back here in early 2020. I think we're going to be moving up, right? But I do think that sometime around before Christmas, in that range, I think we're going to be finding ourselves breaking this channel. And once this channel breaks, then we can talk about lower prices. Then we can talk about hitting 2,900. Then we can talk about hitting 2,700. And maybe we go ahead and break it today. Maybe we break it tomorrow. We have to wait and see. But for right now, I do think that we bounce here. We make our way up to wave 5, finish wave 5. Then we can see a 3-wave structure down. How far down we go? That remains to be seen. That definitely remains to be seen. I'm not rushing into, I'm not really rushing into much of anything right now. I'm just kind of sitting and waiting for the most part. But we're just going to have to wait and see. As it relates to Bitcoin, because I did put Bitcoin in here, so some of you may be interested in that. Let's just talk about Bitcoin for a moment. I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin on Bitfinex because I don't have a whole lot here on this chart. Bitcoin, I'm not as optimistic. I do think that it already completed wave 4 here, right? So again, very similar what we've got here. So from down here, we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 1, A, B, C into the 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, sorry, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, here into the 5, into the 3, A, B, C, down here into the 4, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, this almost looks like a completed structure. This almost does look like a completed structure. What I don't like about this is the fact that we've got such a messy count on this. But if we're going to be moving up, we have to move up now. Like literally, we have to move up now. If Bitcoin is going to move up, we need to move up right now. Because what we've got right here, we've got a violation of this, right? So from here, we have a violation of that. This low, we kind of poked through it a little bit, right? It's very clear that we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, A, B, C, and then we've got, I'm on a daily chart, so it's not clear, but we've got a 5-wave structure down. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, we can't overtake this high. But I think a lot of people agree that we probably are going to try to. We've kind of broken through an important level here, which is sitting there at 10,864. This level right here, looking at it daily, right? We're just looking at candlesticks. This level right here is pretty important, right here. And we're trying to test that right now. So we're sitting right here inside of this range. This is a no trade range for me. At least at this price, right? If you're going to do anything, I would say buying here. And if we close the day below 10,485, then I think we can probably go lower. But that 10,500, and we got down to 10,532. If we can break through 10,500, then I think we're probably going to go lower. But that seems to be a pretty important level, right? So we hit 10,532. We're up at 10,637. So we've seen a $100 move to the upside already. You know, it's tough because I actually was of the opinion that we would come down here and then we would see higher prices. If you guys are familiar with my Coinbase chart, which I'll pull up here in just a moment, we came down here to the 50. So if this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, that 10,500, that's sitting right there at the 50. That's a high probability zone for a wave 2 retrace. And we kind of already hit it. One thing that I don't like is the fact that this has taken how long to go up? It's taken 11 days to go up and what, 2 days to go down? Doesn't seem right. It seems like this correction is probably going to move up a little bit, probably try and retest 10.8 and then come back down here for 10.5. I think we're going to hit 10.5, I think is what I'm saying. I think we're going to hit it. But no harm in kind of trying to catch this bounce because I think that we're going to bounce today. So I'm probably going to be kind of turning this into a long term and like a really short term on what I think is probably going to happen today. So more than likely, I think that's probably what's going to happen. If we take a look at a 4-hour chart on this, we see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 retrace, and then this it was a pretty sharp move down. It really was. So we're starting to create a little bit of a hammer here. We've got 2 hours and 41 minutes left on this 4-hour chart. But if this 4-hour closes anywhere near this level right here, which is at 10,591. No, that's not right. That's not right. This closed at 10,651. So if this closes anywhere near 10,650, I think this candle will be confirmed as a reversal candle, and we're going to see a move back up to this level right here, which is going to be at 10,863. 10,863. And again, what this is based off of is all of this candle confluence right here, right? So you can see it, candle closure right here, candle closure right here, candle closure right here, wicks showing this as support over and over and over as distribution was happening, right? What did we have? I mean, we had shoulder, head, shoulder, down. And typically these things come all the way back to their basis, which in this case would have been all the way down here at about 10.3. But we've got, again, confluence here. And actually, I can probably pull this down just a little bit further. This is probably a more important level based on candle bodies. Because again, we've got support here, we've got resistance here, candle closure here, candle closure here, and then we push up and through. And that again is sitting right here at about 10,440, 10,440, 10,450, somewhere in that range. Right now, it looks like we are going to try and create a reversal candle here, and maybe we actually, close this a little green, which a little green would be okay down here. It'd be good to see something like that. Relative to the volume on this entire move up, this had a lot more volume than any of these candles up here did, on the way up even, right? More volume there. So maybe we do find a little bit of reversal there. Find ourselves coming up here to 10,850, and then we see ourselves moving down to about 10,436, 10,440, somewhere in that range is kind of where I'm going to be poking around watching. Again, this happened quick, but if this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an A, B, C, and then we see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That could complete this correction. As sharp and as fast as it was compared to the move up, this could complete the correction, and then we do finally start to see higher prices. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Bitcoin long-term view that I've got here on Coinbase. So let me just pull this in. I've been talking about this for a long time on the Discord, right? So if this is the case, right, we A, B, C, W, X, Y, whatever you want to call it, we completed one wave of the correction here. I think we've got a 5, 3, and then we're working on the 5. We're probably gonna find ourselves up here, guys. I think it's probably gonna happen up here at 16K. People are gonna be talking about all-time highs up here. If we've made it all the way this high, there's no reason why we shouldn't find ourselves up here. But I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having an ending diagonal as we move ourselves up into this range. As we move up into this range, also be thinking about, excuse me, also be thinking about the the S&P 500 hitting 4,000. All of these things are going to come in confluence with each other. Then we're going to see the election results, and likely that it's when things are going to be traded based on news, and that is when you're going to be late to the party. So I think that more than likely we're going to see that move up. Then we're going to see a sharp move down. For Bitcoin, though, we really need to see some bullish momentum up and through here. Otherwise, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. But this is what I see in the markets right now. Trying to tie in the election into that. But again, I do think that on election night, Trump is going to be declared the winner. As the absentee ballots are kind of counted, I think there's going to be a different picture that is painted, and I think it's probably going to cause panic in the markets. I think Trump winning is going to be causing panic in the streets. I think Biden winning is going to cause panic in the markets. So that is my thoughts and my opinions on the market in 25 minutes. So if this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. And of course, wherever you are in the world,